Welcome to Full Advisor Coaching, the podcast with Kristin Harad. From launching her RIA to guiding countless financial advisors, Kristin is your VIP ticket to reach new levels of success and fulfillment. Dive into growth strategies and grab next-level marketing, sales, and leadership insights to supercharge your business. Joined by industry experts, Kristin's here to help you do more of what you love.
Welcome to the Full Advisor Coaching Podcast with your host, Kristin Harad. I'm producer Bill, and without further ado, let's get to the show. Hey, Kristin, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Bill. Thanks for the quick intro there. And today I'm really excited because I have one of my mentors on the podcast. So
excellent.
I am pleased to welcome Colleen. We have Colleen Bowler here today. And Colleen is a certified financial planner, no longer practicing, but she spent over 25 years building and growing her firm, Texas financial planning firm called Strategic Wealth Partners. She was able to help hundreds of individuals and families while she ran that, won all kinds of awards, and was featured in the book Women at the Top. So she's had accolades there. She exited that business, and we can talk about that. But she's also served as a coach with Strategic Coach since 2003. And that's how I know Colleen. She is my strategic coach. So that is very exciting. She leads the program that I'm in. And she's done all of this. She raised a son as a single mom. She co-authored a book called Generous Kids. And she makes a lot of time for her blended and extended family and her friends, and working with a number of nonprofits. Today, we'll probably spend a fair amount talking about Colleen's current project, though, her current work that she started in 2020, where she founded C&J Innovations. And she co-founded that with Jeannie Hurlbert. And the two of them put their expertise together to create this female-led company that gives financial professionals the tools they need to bring increased value for prospects, clients, and frankly, advisors by expanding client and prospect conversations. And I've seen the tools, I've been in there, and I'm super excited to dig into the details. But Colleen, thanks for joining me today.
Kristin, I'm very excited, very excited. I so appreciate all the value that you add in the marketing space. You and I, it feels like kindred souls. It is, how can we use our unique abilities to help advisors really expand their reach and their impact? Because they have such an incredible impact. So we are kindred spirits on that one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I get super excited when I think about helping advisors thrive in their business, because yes. I know the kind of people, the ones that we work with, many of them independent or RIAs, like they genuinely are helping helping people. They want
yes.
to help people. That's their motivation. It's not about how big can I build my bank account? Not to say they aren't doing well or don't have monetary motivation as you and I do as well.
Yes.
But it's the bigger purpose or reason for being in the business that I love being able to enable and help.
Yeah. And it is, for those advisors, we've talked about it. If somebody's just in it for the money, they're not really a right fit client for us. If they're in it to create value for their clients, we want to be in there right there with them. But isn't it also the case about clients that you or I have had? If they were in it just for the investment return or in it just to build their wealth, that wasn't probably a right fit for us, because we were in it for how do they want to create value in their families and their lives? Where do they want to go in their future? Right. So right. It is that impact of money is great. Money can do lots of great things. And yes, we've got to have some of those metrics in there, but it is really about value that we focus in on.
Absolutely, 100%. Another thing that, kind of fuels me in working with advisors, and I'm excited to dig into some of the tools that you've developed, because I know it helps shine a light on a lot of these things, is, let's face it, professional and personal are not separate anymore, right? Like
No.
they may have never, I mean, the way that once we infused it all together during COVID and came out of that, it's like, all right, if you don't see it now, I don't know what to do for you. I mean, like we do have to appreciate that people are whole individuals, right? They have a whole life, and running a successful business and fulfilling your purpose and having time for fun and fulfillment. It's like, how do we do that? And advisors are so good at helping their clients do that. They quickly change the conversation from any of the specifics around money to what do you want? What are your
Good
goals?
advisors. Yes.
Good advisors, right. Where do you want to go? What's important to you? What do you value? And then how do we align your money to get you there? And knowing that these people your clients have a bigger purpose or goal or things that they want to do in their lives. And then the question is, how are advisors doing that for themselves as well? Which is why I like to get in and help advisors, because I'm like, you too need someone to help guide and coach you and get you to where you want to go, because you're doing all this great work and you can impact more people the more successful you are in your business.
Yes. I've never worked with an advisor that said they wanted their tombstone to read, she or he was a great financial advisor. I mean, nobody wants that to be the first thing, a good person, a good mom, a good friend, a good boss, a good sister or sibling or child, right? All those things, when we talk about blending, that definition of balance that's actually in Webster's dictionary is to move in a swinging and swaying motion. And it never is one side or the other, right? It's a busy world, and our lives are, as you said, intertwined.
Right. Absolutely. And I think some of that, and you can tell me what kind of prompted you. Well, tell us a little bit about C&J Innovations first, so everyone on the call, if they haven't heard of you yet, will know.
Okay.
And then we'll get into kind of what prompted you to start this business.
Okay. So I will take it just a little step back in the sense of I started in the industry the way no one should, with a sick 3-year-old going through a divorce. And I think,
oh God. Well, that sounds fun.
Don't do that. Any new advisor listening to this podcast, hook yourself up with a really good advisor that you can learn from. Anyway, I think I made $14,000 the first year, qualified for earned income credit, 16 the second. But in those really hard years, one of the things that I realized as I was trying to gain confidence and learn the gazillion things that supposedly a good advisor should know, what I realized was what people were coming to me about was their lives. And if I could ask them questions about their lives and where they wanted to go, I didn't have to be an expert in life insurance and investments and disability insurance and long-term care and all of those different things. Right. I needed to become an expert in their future. And everybody's future is so different. Oftentimes we as advisors, we think if you get a certain level, then you are going to be worried about this and this and this. And if you get to this, you are worried about that. It's really not true. So how could I easily, quickly, repeatedly get to the really core of where they wanted to go in their future? And that was really how C&J, how that started, the concept of it, because I 14,000 the first year. When I sold my firm, we had $500 million of assets under management. We did life insurance, we did long-term care, we did disability, we did full planning. And somebody said, you mean it wasn't your firm? No, it was my firm, but I really believe in this power of collaboration. So, you asked the question about people and what is it that for advisors to get up and want to do every morning? We had that earlier conversation about that. Well, different people want to get up and do different things.
Right.
If we never had to do another financial plan, I was really happy.
Right.
But I had
right.
people on my team that love that, right? And so it is really finding those skill sets and what is it that really brings you joy.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's really motivate for your caveat of good advisors who
Yeah.
tune into, or effective advisors, people that make connections, who are having, building relationships over time that are deep and meaningful with their clients. It's about understanding what brings their client joy, right? Like what
Yeah.
excites them, what brings them out. And so,
Or what are they really worried about and concerned
yeah,
about, right? So yeah,
right.
it is. That McKinsey study that said in the next 10 years, advisors are going to shed their role as investment managers and become more like life coaches. Well,
Mm-hmm.
those are going to be advisors that really love that piece. And those are the people that we love to work with, right, Kristin?
Right. Exactly. It's so
And
interesting. Yeah. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, and that is who we created the passport package, which are they're two really quick assessments that advisors can use. One is for 45 and under, and one is for over age 45, on where clients are now versus where they want to be in their future. And they're using it with prospects and clients. Prospects are walking into the meetings and conversations about wellness, about who knows where passwords are. Do you know a big password? The caring mindset. They're asking about purpose. They're having conversations about purpose. When you have a prospect walking in talking like that, instead of, oh, my investment rate of return at the last guy was this,
Right.
then you got to fit. You got to fit.
Right.
We talked about this, Kristin, when all you're sending out is newsletters about the market.
Yes.
What do you expect them to come in talking about?
Right. That's such a good point. It's like every advisor wants to send the market commentary so that, one, it's comfortable. Two, they probably got it canned from somewhere and they can re-forward it forward. And even if they write their own, good for them. It's ultimately you're setting up the reader to say, oh, this is what I should be talking to you about, versus, yes, oh, what else is out there? Plus, you're not showing any of your, God forbid I use the trite word of authenticity, or who you are as an advisor, like the connection there. So you're missing out on that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to back up just a little and have you set the stage of exactly what I know C&J Innovations, and you talked about the passports and the walkway passports and how those work. Can you kind of break that down a little bit to us to say, what do you do, and tell us more about these passports?
Okay. So as I did all these different industry events and was asked to speak, and everybody was like, how did you start at nothing and get
to $500 million?
Yeah, get to incredibly successful, and did it through collaboration with our team. But we did that through asking the questions. And it's really great for me to stand up there and say, yes, we did that through asking questions. Where do you are now, right, and where do you want to be in their future? But I kept thinking about, how can we make this a repeatable process that anyone could do, and maybe even do before a meeting, to get people in the question before they walked in the door, and also get them to understand what kind of an advisor you were. If somebody walked in my door and all they wanted to talk about was return on investment, I knew that wasn't a right fit for me. And as soon as I had the money, step left as soon as possible. We all know when we're starting, right? So I met this woman, Jeannie Hurlbert, PhD, sociology. She is masterful and has an incredible way of dealing with assessments and data. And she's like, well, that could be easily put into an assessment. I'm like, I've been doing this for years. I've spoken all over. And she's like, no, this is easy. We can do this. And I'm like, okay, that's another skill set, right?
Yeah. You're like, we can, or maybe you can. I'm like, yes, I have the knowledge, but let me convey it to you.
Yes. So that's what we did. And we created 8 core mindsets
Oh, okay.
8 mindsets for each age area, 5 core that is for both. Like
Okay.
readiness mindset. Do you have a buffer? That's the superpower. We as advisors know that means, do you have an emergency fund? But do they have a readiness mindset that they have a buffer in case of not just new tires, but that they want to take a break? I had clients that career-wise, they wanted to take a break for a month or 2 months and travel or figure out what their next move was. If you don't have that buffer, you don't have the confidence to be able to do that, right? So
right.
the other one of them, caring. As advisors, we talk about, does somebody know where your documents are? Okay, that's important, but what about your passwords? That was a big one in COVID. Does somebody know where your passwords are? And that's usually the one that everybody focuses in on because nobody.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, I don't know. Yes.
I don't know. Somebody knows 3 things, So they can go on and take a quick 5-minute assessment, which is what it is on their 8 mindsets.
Okay.
And they not only where are they now on a scale of 1 to 12? Where do they want to be in their future on a scale of 1 to 12? And one of the things that I said to Jeannie about taking assessments, I hate taking them and being told, so-and-so will get back to you, or so-and-so.
Right. You're like, no, I want to know. I want to know the answer. Don't make me wait and then sell me something.
Yes. And so the prospect or client takes it on the advisor site, and the report comes to the advisor to give to the client, but they also see it on the screen so that they can see. And they also have action items for every mindset.
Okay.
So they can get started right away, even before they walk into the advisor's office.
Wow. Okay. So they can be this can be a lead magnet, right? Like can be a way to capture a name and email address and provide value in exchange for that contact information to which the advisor can engage with them, but the prospect gets value out of it and can take action immediately based on the information that they're getting.
Right. And as we know, most really good advisors want to add value to others' lives. And sometimes they're just not a right fit. It might be children of a client, or it might be someone who doesn't have an emergency fund yet, and they need them to get there first, right? So giving them action items to take action in their own life adds so much value right off the start.
Right. Now, I want to dig a little bit into the details on these. So you have these passport packages, and I know you have them patent pending for 45 or under or over age 45, which I assume, kind of makes sense just based on, life
accumulation versus, we call it walk away from what you don't love to do, because that word retire.
Yeah.
I
really love walk away. That's great. It's saying freedom of choice to do. I'm going to walk away from that and do something and walk somewhere else. I like that.
It is your freedom word, Kristin.
Yes, I do. I love that.
Love freedom.
Freedom, fulfillment. It's got all of it folded in there for sure.
Yes.
So if I'm taking, and I did mine a while back, so I can't recall it right now off the top of my head, but I go in and I answer questions. Now, these mindsets, are these all, they apply to everyone, or do you kind of say, hey, these are your ones that you focus on? How does that work?
The mindsets are for everyone. So wellness. So there is nothing financial in these assessments. It's nothing like what's your net worth or anything like that. Wellness, a big thing to know. If somebody wants to play a big, hairy game, audacious game, and they don't have their wellness, as an advisor, that's really important to know. And if you can support them in it, it is not that you have to solve the problem. It's that they feel heard, And And I often, like wellness, somebody said, I really need to lose 20 pounds. Great. You want to do that? That's great. How do you want to do that? Is there any way that we can support you? And I'd have books there or Fitbits or whatever. But also, we would add that to our goals for the meeting. That we would check back in with them at 3 months and 6 months. We'd ask, we'd get permission, and you want us to follow up with that? It was very rare that somebody said no.
Right.
And it was like they had a little cheering squad that they knew was going to be there in 3 months or 6 months, right?
Right. That's amazing. I know I'm looking at I'm getting a sneak peek at the one pager that I think we're going to have available.
Yes.
As a free download. So everyone will get a chance to do that, or they can look in the show notes and take a peek at this one pager.
Yes.
But the wellness one is that one speaks to me because I do prioritize that. So
that is really great. And that is not necessarily usual, right? A lot of advisors have forgotten to put their own oxygen mask on first. Right. They're so busy helping others. So part of this for the advisor, they can easily go to the C&J Innovations page and take the full assessment. Truly, it's less than 5 minutes.
I would say it's very quick.
It's very quick. They can do it for themselves and get those action and feel the experience it is. And we are going to have that little quick thing in the download for the freebie for listening with this. But also to know the assessment lies on the advisor site. These are their clients. The reports come directly to the advisor, or hopefully to a team member who's managing that process for the advisor, as you know. So they get that and they can provide that value. The thing that you're going to love, Kristin, is once there's about 25 to 50, we like it closer to 50, we actually can put data together, and that's all Jeannie's part, to show, gosh, the majority of your clients are doing great on the readiness mindset and on let me think which ones are the best. Wellness is one of the
harder ones.
Unquote worse, the ones that people really.
Foundation, maybe?
Foundation is one. Purpose is one for those 50 and above. So when you talk about marketing, you can see where the gaps are and start addressing that in your newsletters. Or you figure out, these are right fit clients. I need to get more of them. We really are working, advisors are growing their revenue amazingly from using these. I'd like those. So these are their concerns. One of the mindsets in both is partnership. Interesting. Advisors thinking they have good relationships, and when someone takes it, they're saying they're not. Or when there's a couple, here's a good example. I had an advisor that called me and said, I need to talk about this with you because I think it's wrong. There's a couple I'm working with. The man and I have a great relationship, and the woman and I just can't get a handle on her. But when they took their assessments, walk away, she scored 8 on partnership and he scored 1.
Ooh.
Where they are now. And she scored a 12 of where she wanted to be in her future. And he scored, I think it was a 3 or a 4. I don't understand. And I'm like, well, I think they kind of gave you a clue, but this is a great question to go in with. These are people that have been clients for 5 years and you believe X. You believe the opposite
of the reality of the reporting, right? Yeah.
Right. And so he walked in and very bravely, was walking through it and said, okay, let's talk about partnership. And you, to the wife, were an 8. Tell me why that was. And she said, you always make sure that this, and this is done. Your team is really good. Whenever I call, somebody gets back to me. Your agendas are clear and crisp, and I like this and I like that. And, I just really enjoy working with you.
Right.
And when he was telling me about this later, he said, I wish she would have alerted her face like before it started, because I had no idea. And then he turned to who he thought he had a good relationship with, the guy. And he said, I don't really care about a relationship with you. You do a great job on the returns, and that's what I care about. Huh. And I don't, if this is what my wife needs, that's great, but I don't need that. And he came away going, gosh, is this a right fit client for me?
Wow. Okay.
And interestingly, within the next 6 months, they got a divorce, or, started it, and she remained the client and the husband did not.
Interesting. Wow. So I see I mean, I know you've talked about using this as a lead gen where people can get, take some questions, get some value, and then the advisor can follow up and we have someone on your list. And so they can do the general nurture that we like to do in marketing. What I'm hearing there was a use of using the tool with existing clients.
Correct. In annual reviews.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because you can track progress. We track progress, as you know, on investments and insurance and stuff, but we don't track progress on things that are really important to them. Wellness, average weight gain during COVID was 29 pounds. The majority of the advisors saw where they are now for wellness actually go down. Their numbers go down. Isn't that important to know?
Yeah.
Right. As an advisor. So in the annual review, and then the other thing that's really magical is we have a partner recap. And that's what this advisor was using, is you put the partners' numbers together.
Oh, wow.
And see where are they on readiness. Interesting thing, most women, same amount of money, same knowledge base. The women think their numbers are lower where they are now than the man's. It's very interesting. Or in one spouse, a same-sex spouse, one of them always has readiness as lower, and they have the same amount of money. That's something to pay attention to, because somebody's going to need more money set aside to feel really good.
Right, right.
So
I think getting into those types of conversations are really interesting. I have a client I'm working with now. They like to get at these kinds of questions. Like, what are the different money personalities or styles, right? Like certain people want adventure, and then other people want to feel secure. And then how do we navigate between the two? And so I know that they said this actually, having these tools that take you out of the basic, you want to save for college, you want to save for retirement, but that changes the conversation, actually enables the advisors to have a conversation that they may not know how to start.
Right.
Because it is something that is emotional. It's not technical, right? It's getting to a different part of who we are and what we're about. And a lot of advisors may not know how to initiate that conversation. And having a tool like this, what's the first step? How do they do that?
So the first step is just let's get a hold of us and let's have a conversation and see if it's a right fit. We've made this very, very accessible for advisors. It's $2,500 for the setup, and that includes getting the branding and getting all the compliance and anything, and getting the embed code on the site. It takes a bunch of stuff to get it onboarded. And then $200 a month. And there's a discount at 6 months if you pay for 6 months or pay for a year. Very, very accessible. And if we're using and working with a bigger group of advisors, there's discounts, or with broker dealers or things like that. There's a whole bunch of different ways we can.
So you can roll it out to all the advisors in a firm.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay.
And some of them will love it, and some of them will be weary, and we coach through it. And we've got a great team to work with the advisors on onboarding and, how do you get started and what do you do and all those things. We even have workshops, one on expansion and one on walkaway, complete with all the notes section that they can do online on a Zoom or in person. That's an hour. We're all tired of those. What's a stock? What's a bond? How do you get ready for retirement? So these are really great, engaging workshops on mindsets.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay. So as you know, we'll have everything in the notes on how to get in contact with you, and they can get the free download. But this podcast is ultimately about fulfillment, and how do we facilitate and help people find more fulfillment in their lives. And I'm curious, Colleen, how do you find fulfillment?
For me, it is both personally and professionally. It really is about connecting people and empowering them. I mean, that is a really simple thing, like I can go, oh, Kristin would be so good with working with so-and-so, or, to just really elevate everybody. Because as as that happens, everybody wins, right? So I love that. And I love empowering others and helping them grow. That's really what the assessments are all about, right? It's empowering advisors to empower their clients. So it's very cool. But I also do it with, with our adult kids and grandkids. I'm always thinking, oh, connect this or empower, do this or whatever.
Right.
Sometimes they're like, okay, quit empowering. Just
right. Can we just hang out? No, I think that's
love it.
Evident in having gotten to know you over the last year and a half or so, just seeing that come out from you from the minute I met you, where you were like, you need to talk to so-and-so. And we immediately kind of connected in that way. So
it fills your bucket, right? It's what do you get up in the morning and decide you really love to do? And that's advisors. Until I learned about this real collaboration part, advisors getting up in the morning, I didn't want to do another plan. I didn't want to, I just wanted to talk to people and see where they wanted to go. Right. So,
we are very similar that way. That is for sure. So I understand that.
Yeah. And advisors can build a great practice that way.
Absolutely. And with your tools, you're able to enable those conversations. And I think that's really, really valuable. So Colleen, thank you so much for joining me today. We could go on for days, I'm sure. I really appreciate you taking time to join me and to educate my listeners and provide the tools for them to have these meaningful and valuable relationships. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Kristin, as always, for a fascinating conversation. For those of you interested in reaching out to Kristin, maybe having a conversation of your own, her contact information is in the show notes. For those of you who are listening who are not already subscribers, come on, this is easy. Hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss another edition of this podcast. You'll be notified when Kristin releases anything new. Thank you for listening today. On behalf of Kristin, I'm Bill Tucker, reminding you to go out and make today a great day or not. It's your choice. Thanks. See you again next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Full Advisor Coaching, the podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the follow button so you'll never miss an episode. To learn more about how you can become a part of the Full Advisor community, visit fulladvisorcoaching.com. Remember, stay connected and get notified as soon as brand new episodes release. Click the follow button now. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Kristin Harad or Full Advisor Coaching.